control, birth in general. She's extremely knowledgeable, and she's actually in school for midwifery.
Yes, I'm going to be a midwife next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited.
That is exciting.
She'll be seeing front row seats of my births in the future. So, anyway.
Okay. Anyway.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know we have taken quite a hiatus.
Yeah, just like a little mini vacation. I feel like we said this last time, but like
we were working. It
wasn't vacation at all.
We've been cultivating our relationships and our careers, so yeah, it's been
Just
a lot.
been a lot going on. I got a dog.
Cultivating. Love it.
We've been growing and building something really big. Okay. Anyway, I'm so embarrassed. Okay. All right. So we're gonna talk about birth control. Let's start out with that, so that we can trickle into other things.
It's not just maybe that, but we'll do.
No pun intended.
If you know, you know.
The only time the trickle down effect works. So.
I'm sorry, Mom. Please don't watch this.
Oh yeah.
It's fine.
Sorry, Mom. All right. So my experience with birth control, I was on the pill for about 10 years.
When did you start?
I started when I was 15. I told my mom that I was having really bad periods, but
she was trying to
I
bang.
think we all knew what was really going down. Too young, definitely.
Way too young.
We
We've
got
had
it.
this conversation,
Yeah,
yeah.
too young. Anyway.
Way too young.
But birth control worked, and it definitely expedited my female figure. I got really curvy whenever I got
Really? That's so interesting.
I got called fat like in high school after it.
Really?
R.I.P.
I like forgot that
I
people
remember
used to get
that.
like big boobs and stuff.
I never
From
had
like, and I never got that effect. I'm
I
like,
always got hips though. I just got hips.
I had hips for days. So it's
Wait,
fine.
I mean, that's...
It's hormones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, birth control worked for me. And, you know, they kind of tossed me around with, like, certain, like, brands. And it was good. Like, fine. I didn't really have any major issues. I just didn't really feel right about being on birth control. Like, at a certain point, I was 25, and it was like, why am I still on this? Like, I don't want to get pregnant yet, but whenever I do, I don't want to have issues, and the longer I'm off birth control, the better for fertility, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's like what I think in my head too.
So, so I got off, and then I was like exiting my relationship, and my benefits were coming to a close, and I was like, the best thing for me to do would be something more long-term. How about an IUD? So I got Kylina, and it was kind of painful at first.
That's what I have.
Yes, and
You mean painful like insertion or
the
painful?
insertion was painful.
Uncomfortable for sure for me, but it hurt more afterwards.
It was painful. I was like white knuckling.
Really?
And then I got up and I'm like, okay, like I'm out, peace. And I looked down and like there's all this blood. And I was like,
yeah, I forgot that happened to you.
I was like, ugh. I'm like, I'm gonna.
Well, yeah, because you have to go while you're on your period too.
Yeah, so she got me orange juice. I like felt really faint, and otherwise I was good. I mean, everything was normal. I'm like, is this okay? They're like, yeah, you're fine. You can drive home now. So then
They're like, you're fine.
Yeah, honey, you're good. Yeah. You got some orange juice, you're fine. And so I went home, and I had a really great caretaker. Shout out to my mans. But yeah, everything went really smoothly for me on that note. I still have some light bleeding, but
Like spotting.
Do you get a period still with it?
no.
You don't?
Yeah,
you're
I
one of
don't-
the lucky
I
The
ones.
don't
spotting was pretty consistent for like a month.
So like consistent, non-stop spotting for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got pads for it, like thong pads.
Like the line.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's way too much
I've
information.
had fun.
Sorry.
This is a TMI, but it's like it's fine. It's normal.
It is
It's natural.
what it is.
So do you feel a difference like between being off birth control and being on birth control?
I do. I had a lot more energy whenever I was off birth control, which
Yeah, we talked about that too.
in sex drive, pretty consistent for me. Yeah.
I don't think that ever changes for Hannah.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been good so far though. Like no other changes. I've been feeling like more like chilled, like nothing that's earth shattering for me. Yeah.
Right.
It's only been like 2 months.
Okay.
3 months.
I feel like for me, I don't even know what it's like without birth control at this point. Because I've been on
I was really curious.
for so long. But like, I didn't get it till I was 18, but like since I was 18, like it's been consistent. Mm-hmm. So like I had the pill first, because my parents didn't believe in the whole birth control thing because that meant I was having sex.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It like totally discredited the fact that I was like having like painful like periods. You know, they're like, sorry, you're not going on birth control. Which is fine, whatever. They're the parents, whatever.
So is that why you waited till you were 18?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed, So I had to wait. So when I was 18, as soon as I turned 18, I was like, I'm going on birth control.
So like pull out game.
Yeah, and also like I was like sexually active, so like thank God that I was like safe and like smart, but still, yeah, it would have definitely helped like period wise, like in high school, because I had really bad backaches that make me like sick. So I never got cramps, always had backaches. But yeah, so then I got on the pill, and then after the pill, I like wanted to try other things because I kept like kind of forgetting to like take my pill, and I would like set an alarm, and I'm like, oh, like, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
So it was just like kind of hard for me to like remember to do that. And then like if I missed the day, I would take like 2, and then it would make me sick. I'm like, oh, this just like isn't it for me.
It would not feel good.
So what was the next one? And then I tried like the NuvaRing, like the little circle thing. They like at college they like gave me like the samples. So I was just like, okay, I'll just
Did you
use
like
those.
that?
I like did, but like probably never mind. Let's just say like I guess it wasn't that comfortable during like intimate times.
Yeah. I also would just be afraid of it like popping
like
out.
My partner,
like a
well, yeah, and it like it would like come out sometimes. So like that was weird. Yeah.
Just like on its own, right?
Yeah. Like so it was just like weird. I guess I wasn't in there far enough. I don't know. And then I
can't even feel my strings or my IUD.
You what? Oh no, I can't either.
Can you feel your cervix? Like, are you going up, Hanna?
Hannah's like, that's a good question.
She's like, can I?
I'm questioning everything now.
Like, what is in there?
Where is it? I'm gonna have to take an anatomy class after this.
I never really was like, oh, let me just like see what's going on with my cervix real quick. Let me make sure I can. I never really like thought about it, but maybe I should see if she's good.
Is she good at it?
Is she good?
Chilling.
Oh man, yeah.
Apparently.
So anyway, yeah, this is the rabbit holes that we talk about. We get lost sometimes. Anyway, so what did I do after that? I think I went back on the pill, and then I probably stopped for like maybe like a month trying to find something. But then I went back on the pill, and then I think that's when I got the next Nexplanon. Nexplanon? Yeah, Nexplanon. And it was in my arm. I still have a scar. It was over here.
Ugh.
And yeah.
Yeah, they inserted it like surgically.
Yeah, no.
Vanessa Hudgens is on it.
Yeah,
right.
dude,
Yeah.
she's a real life user. If you didn't see the commercial, it's like
really?
real life user. Oh
Hanna!
I'm so sorry.
I think Vanessa.
Wow, we are so sorry, listeners. The abuse that you must have undergone with your eardrums.
So rude.
She may as well just sing to you.
Yeah.
She actually has a beautiful voice.
No, not at all
You
right
do.
now.
You have a gorgeous voice.
Anyway,
we're gonna get her to sing sometime. Anyway.
The point is that, okay, so the birth control that goes in the arm, that's what Vanessa Hudgens says. But yeah, it was like awesome for the first year, like no period, no pain, like it was amazing. Nothing. Like it was awesome. And then right when the 1 year mark, because I think it lasts for 3 years, once the 1 year mark hit, I had my period for 3 months straight, like, and like a period, like every single day. It was actually like very, very hard. Like, I cried like every day. I remember calling my mom, like, I just can't do this anymore. And they couldn't like get me an appointment. I was like, I just need to get this thing out of my arm. Like it was just, it was so miserable. Like,
that's very common. Like that's very common with the next one.
Yeah, like screw that.
Spotting periods when you get past the year mark.
Yeah, screw that. So I got that out, and so I like passed out like when they were digging because I like couldn't get it. So they were like digging in there, and they gave me a juice box. So kind of like similar to yours. I was like they had to like put the alcohol under my nose. So I was like passing out because they were digging in my arm. But then I got the it was bad. then I got Kylian, so I don't have like any issues with that.
Did you find
I
that
had it
painful?
for 2 years.
Did you?
Yeah, when they inserted it, I was just like, oh,
it's crampy.
Yeah, it's very. It felt like, and that was the first time I experienced cramps.
It felt like I never had a contraction, but I would imagine that's what it feels like.
Yeah, no, it was, and then like
worse,
a week after, it was bad.
The week after it was bad.
Yeah, like it lasted like it was still like I was still cramping and like bleeding a little bit. So I like called because I was nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, you made me feel better because you did call. And, like that's how I found out. Like, oh, okay, this isn't like totally crazy.
Right. No. Yeah. For sure.
I'm not gonna die.
No. Yeah. I was like nervous, and they're like, "Oh, you're fine." Like everyone's different. I guess they said so. Like it could last a little bit longer than 3 days. Like it was. I guess it was 3 to 5 days. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now like I absolutely love it. Like I don't have to think about it. It feels good. It doesn't make me sick. Like periods are pretty regular. Like I don't get them, but if I do, it's very light and it's for like a day.
Good.
But yeah.
So how would that affect your hormones in your cycle, like moving forward? Like, since we're not getting periods, like why? Right. Like what happens with our eggs? Like
so you're not ovulating right now. That's why that's happening. So your ovaries almost go like dormant. Like they're not.
So they're chilling with
so they're still there.
They're still there.
They're just
the hormones that are creating ovulation aren't happening. And that's what birth control does.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are some risks to being on birth control, which we don't know a ton about because there's not a lot of great studies out there because we're women and nobody does research on us.
Nobody cares.
But
that's some bullshit.
Yeah. So like there's some different things like post-birth control syndrome that are like real, but like you might not ovulate for up to a year after birth control. So it can be.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But like most people do ovulate, but like that can.
But if you're like trying, you should definitely get off of it for like a year or two before.
Yes.
You try it. Okay.
I've heard of once you get the IUD out, you can get pregnant pretty much immediately.
So if you are ovulating, yeah, you can immediately. But the risk is with a hormonal IUD that your hormones probably need some time and you might not ovulate right away.
Right.
So it just depends what your body does. And like I said, some people don't ovulate for like up to a year sometimes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really crazy.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy if you guys would do some studies on that. That would probably be a little bit helpful. Since we're the ones carrying your children.
Can you like look under the hood once in a while?
Look under the hood. That's so weird. I'm like wondering why that's not a study.
It's just
I feel like that's like
everyone is so different.
That's true.
Like, everyone reacts to everything so differently. Like your birth control experience is different than mine.
Right.
Like so, like
that's
you,
true.
Hannah, might get her IUD out and she'll probably ovulate 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
You might get your IUD out and it'll be 3 months. Like it, it's very much varied.
And men don't deal with it, so
yeah.
Yes, so they care.
So who really cares? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh man.
Patriarchy.
Patriarchy is strong.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I got on birth control young. I think I was probably about 15 too.
Yeah.
And I got on it for happy periods. / I just kind of wanted to be on it because I thought that's what you should do when you're 15.
I was gonna say everyone was
cool
like
in some ways.
Maybe my boobs will get bigger.
Maybe my boobs will get bigger.
That's what I was hoping for.
Barely.
Yeah.
Did not work. My butt just got bigger.
I feel like I had like a traumatic experience though. Like it made me so depressed. Like I was on one pill for I think it was about 3 months. I remember it was like Junel, and the OBGYN just gave it to me because that's what they had free samples of.
Yeah.
And I took it and I was like, remember just like a shift in my personality, a shift in my like life.
Yeah.
And I was just like laid on the couch for 3 months. Like it was bad. Like I
Oh,
should
wow.
not.
Yeah.
It made me
Wait,
very depressed.
I'm gonna blame my depression on that.
On birth control?
Yeah.
Well, it could be.
So I was
It really could be.
That's true.
It could
I
be.
agree.
I come home from school and sleep.
Oh my
for
god,
like
yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
I was
There's
weird.
a lot of factors at play with depression, but birth control can definitely contribute to it. So it's a known side effect of birth control.
Yeah.
So I changed that to a different pill, and I felt a little bit better, but still like not 100% great, like not like my normal self before. And I stayed on. I think I tried 3 different pills. So the first one, depression. The second one, a little bit better, and then I changed to a different one, and I pretty much felt the same on all of them. I was on a pill for probably about 3 years, and I didn't get a period on it. Like even when I stopped taking it for that week, like I never bled, I never got anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So and I was called one of the lucky ones
Yeah.
at my OB's office, and I was like, stopping. So I got into a monogamous relationship my second year of college, and we've been together ever since. And I was
love of your life.
yeah.
Oh.
So I was taking the pill, like, you know, to prevent pregnancy, and then I decided that I wanted to get an IUD, and I got the Paragard IUD, which is the copper IUD. So there's no hormones. And some side effects of the Paragard IUD is that because it's copper, it creates a lot of inflammation on your endometrium, which is the inside of your uterus, so that causes your period to happen. So it causes really heavy periods. So that was definitely a side effect for me. So I had very heavy periods. They were very crampy and uncomfortable with the IUD. And I went from like not having a period at all on that birth control pill for 3 years to like that. And I was like, oh my God. So, actually, I had a weird situation happen as well, which I feel is related to the IUD, but my doctor was like, I don't know, I think it's just coincidence. But I had what is called an ovarian torsion 7 days after I got my IUD in. So my ovary twisted around itself, which is extremely painful, like one of the most painful things you can.
Did you get surgery for that?
I did.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I had a cyst on my ovary. And I think what happened was, I don't know, the IUD, I think something was related. It's just not, it's
way too coincidence.
It seems too much of a coincidence. So yeah, I do think something was up with that. So I had a cyst on my ovary, and like that can happen whenever you have a cyst on your ovary, is that you can have a torsion, but I think they were related in some way. So anyways, I went on and I had this IUD for probably about a year, maybe a little bit more, and I was like, I really wanted to find a natural form of birth control without hormones, which is why I chose the Paragard. That maybe wouldn't cause me to have these horrible heavy periods. Yeah. So I was really interested in, it's called the Fertility Awareness Method. So I started doing all this research, and I told my partner, I was like, I'm getting off birth control. If you want to wear a condom, then you can, but I'm stopping this. Birth control is just not for me. So I got the IUD out and started tracking my cycles. So the Fertility Awareness Method, you track some different things. You do, it's called symptothermal. So you track symptoms that you're having and your temperature. So there's something called your basal body temperature, which you take your temperature every morning, and the beginning half of your cycle, so from the time you get your period to the time you ovulate, your temperatures are lower. And then once you ovulate, they spike up and they stay high until you get your period again.
Wow.
Well, good way to remember, hot and bothered.
Hot.
Yeah.
Right.
Hot and bothered.
Yeah. And then, so it's symptothermal, so you have these thermal, so you're taking your temperature, but symptoms as well of tracking your cycle. So you test your cervical mucus, or like discharge that you're having. So throughout your cycle, it's a little bit different. Usually, from your period, and it's period blood, and then you have, like kind of not really sticky cervical mucus, and then once you ovulate, it becomes this egg white, really like slippery kind of mucus.
Oh wow!
Yes.
I never knew that.
So yeah, and if you're on hormone birth control, this doesn't happen. So you wouldn't
right.
know.
When I was off of it,
now that I'm
she was like my guide.
Yeah. So you test all these things, and then your cervix, so the actual like opening to your uterus, will start to move throughout your cycle. So it'll become high, it'll go low, and at different points in your cycle, you kind of feel your cervix, like, is she high, is she low, what kind of fluid is she giving me, and then is she open or not. So your cervix actually opens a tiny bit during your fertile window to allow semen to go inside to create a baby. So like you test all these different things.
That is
It's
amazing.
really cool. It's
body.
really cool.
Yeah.
And I did this, so I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years now, and I just have been like so in tune with my body, and like I just feel like I know exactly what's going on. Never had a pregnancy scare, never had any issues. Like seriously, it's really easy. I can only get pregnant. So your egg survives for 24 hours. However, there's like a fertile window. So your 3 to 5 days, before you ovulate is your fertile time. And that's just because sperm can live for 3 to 5 days. So that's
Those
why.
little shits. Of course they can.
So yeah, and also I just have to talk about cervixes more because I think they're so cool.
Keep going.
I'm interested.
So your cervix has these things called cervical crypts, and it's like little caves inside of your cervix. Yeah. That the semen lives in these crypts for 3 to 5 days. It hides in the caves until your egg is ready and calls it. So we found via research. Yes. We found via research that your egg actually calls your sperm. So we used to think that sperm is
so
what
the
finds
egg
the egg.
chooses.
She's on that late night call.
It's like that you up test.
Right. Yep. Nope.
Wow.
She calls the man to come.
Wow.
He's crip walking all around us.
They're hiding in caves waiting
She's
for
like,
her.
right, it's 2 a.m. Let's go.
Come through.
Yeah. So if she doesn't like him, she's like, no. So she picks the one she likes.
I love that. I feel like that's life too.
That
like,
is the one. That is. Yep.
that is how it works.
We pick you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So be lucky.
We choose
Feel
you.
lucky.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. So yeah, I feel like it's a great method for me. I've never had any issues. Obviously, there's no hormones at play, so I feel like I can just live my most authentic self. If I'm depressed, I know it's not because I'm on birth control.
Yeah,
That's
that's so
wild.
amazing.
At one point, we were all just little sperm, like crip walking around.
Yeah. Hiding in those caves, waiting to come out.
Lurking.
Yeah. So
Like people on the internet who don't post.
Yeah. But
Dude,
yeah.
so that's actually hilarious.
So it's really neat. But yeah, so that's what I do for birth control now. There's some different books that I have written here to just recommend to people if you're interested. The main one that teaches you the method is Taking Charge of Your Fertility. It's like this thick. I read the whole thing in 2 days. It's fucking fascinating.
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
read this thing. It's so cool. And then there's Beyond the Pill, which I recommend to people that are wanting to get off birth control. Because oftentimes there is some issues like with your cycles. So whether or not you're ovulating, you can still have issues with your cycle. Your hormones can be a little bit out of whack. So that kind of teaches you really about that, just like kind of regulating your cycle and returning to your, best self after the pill. And then Wild Power, which is kind of crunchy and really cool. But
I love that it's called Wild Power. Like,
yeah,
that's just,
so it's about the power of your cycle. So we have these cyclic, we're cyclic beings and we live cyclic lives.
Mm-hmm.
So Wild Power teaches you how to embrace each part of your cycle. So there's your period is the winter, so you're not going to be thrilled probably to do a lot of the stuff that you would do in your summer, which is ovulation. So you're gonna probably feel really great during ovulation. So it just teaches you different lifestyle changes
And how to
during
utilize
the
your cycle
Right.
for bettering your life and feeling good. Because the world, our 9-to-5 jobs are not built for women; they're built for men.
Yeah.
And to kind of honor your body and honor the cycle of how you operate biologically is so key to having a better life. And I definitely noticed that whenever I was off and doing fam.
And I feel like a lot of women or people that are cycling are, they feel like they can't take a break almost. We live in this such high, I just gotta get everything done and if I'm tired, too bad, I'm just gonna have to do it because I just have to. But really being able to embrace no, sometimes I do need more rest and it's because of my cycle and that's just how it is. And sometimes I feel great and I want to be more social and whatever. And sometimes even you need to eat more. From ovulation to your period, you're supposed to eat 400 calories more a day.
Wow.
So this.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Don't you burn extra calories during your period, 200 or something?
So I don't know that factually, but I know from your ovulation to when your cycle, your luteal phase is what it's called. So it's ovulation to your next period, you do expend more energy.
Very
It's just your metabolism goes up. So
That's really
You're
cool.
supposed to eat 400 more calories a day, which is
So this could be the weight management plan.
Yeah, also birth control. So side effects are depression, anxiety related symptoms, and weight gain. So if people do struggle with weight and that's something that they feel maybe their birth control has contributed to, this can be a great option for people. It does take work, so I don't recommend the fertility awareness method for everyone because it does involve work. But you really have to educate yourself and you have to take your temperature every day. So some people just don't want to do that. But yeah, if you're willing to put in the work, I think it's a great option.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The female body.
That's so awesome, dude.
Yeah.
secretions and discharge, like, wow, what a wop.
Yeah, so if you think about it, biologically, your body is like, hey, we're fertile, what's going to create the best environment for semen to live in? And that is that really like slippery mucus that you have. So that's why your body does that in hopes to make a baby, because that's why we're all here on Earth, right? So yeah, that's why it does that. And some people have more discharge than others too. So it's a wide range.
Bucket and a mop.
Oh my god. You're funny.
Anyway, yeah.
So do you think that there is, like, what is the difference between, if you would know this, between like just regular pill and like the IUDs? Is it just, would you say just more like pregnancy preventive, or?
Yeah, I mean, they're both pregnancy preventive. So with the IUD, hormonally they're a little bit different, and there's so many different kinds of pills, by the way. So like hormonally, each pill can be a little bit different. But when you're taking a pill, it's a systemic, you know, like it's your whole body is being affected by that hormone that you're taking to suppress ovulation and to create increased cervical. Like,
but they're not dormant like the IUD, are they? Or they can be?
No, they are.
Okay.
They are. So with the IUD, there's two different kinds of things that can happen. Some people, you know, the hormones from the IUD do affect your body a little bit more systemically, but not as much. So it's like you're getting a smaller dose of the birth control pill. So you actually can ovulate with an IUD, with a hormonal IUD, but you probably aren't if you're not getting a period. So if you guys aren't getting periods, I wouldn't think that would be happening.
Yeah.
So like both ways, your ovaries are being dormant. But with an IUD, there are some people that still do ovulate with hormonal IUDs.
And are there chances of getting pregnant higher because of that?
No, just because of so how the IUD works is it creates almost like a cervical like mucus plug. So like it becomes like a thicker mucus. Yeah, so like semen can't really get in.
Perfect analogy.
I'm honest.
You're just killing it today.
Yes. So that still happens. And then like there's a foreign body in your uterus. So like an egg being implanted into your uterus is unlikely.
Yeah.
So like I feel the effectiveness rate is the same if you're one of those people.
So you're saying she can't call in the sperm? There's no signal.
She can call it, but it ain't happening.
Oh man.
She's not getting that late night.
Oh man.
It ain't gonna
I feel bad for my girl, honestly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this, but I'm not gonna say it. So anyway.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's really
How amazing are we?
It's really cool.
Our bodies.
We really are amazing. And like I feel like growing up, I did not know all this.
No, I would have never went on birth control, like ever.
No, yeah.
Ever.
Well,
I mean, and
probably
we were like young and stupid. Everyone like was on birth control. Like,
Sure.
I was pretty dumb.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like a 16-year-old is not gonna do fam. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah,
but just how that affects our hormones so young.
Yes.
Like when you're still developing. Like I was
Yeah.
not fully developed at 15.
No, yeah.
So the way that could affect us long term, very interesting.
Yeah, so there's been some studies done, which might be a little controversial to say, but they have found an increased rate of like certain birth defects and certain things like chromosomally in babies that have been born to mothers that have recently been on birth control.
Wow.
So we don't know the association. There's so many factors that play into that. But so like some books, some publications recommend you be off of birth control for at least 1 year prior to starting to try to have
That makes sense.
And that's what I would want to do as well.
Yeah.
Like I want my body to like be free for a little.
And kind of see what it's like.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
Seriously,
done
like
that.
I feel like I would like almost not recognize myself. You know what I mean? Like it would just
I
be
felt
like
that way in a lot of ways.
it would just be like really
Your
cool.
body does different things, and you feel less bloated, and like I just had more energy. I felt like the truest form of myself.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't know what your sex drive is like on birth control, but when you're off birth control, it is primal. Like, it is like you're really, like, your body tries very hard to make a baby every cycle.
Wow. Okay.
So, like, it's different. It's very different.
It is.
It feels
Because I feel like I have like a very high sex drive already, so like for that would
No, but the
probably.
thing is, it's cyclical. So So like during your ovulation phase is when it's primal. Probably the rest of the month you're like, I don't really care if I have sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like during that like fertile time is when your body's really gonna try to make a baby because that's biologically what we're supposed to do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah.
She's trying to swipe right in there. She's just like,
She's like, can I please get someone? I mean, it worked for us.
It did work for us. We both met our significant others on Tinder.
Yeah.
How did you meet your partner?
At a party in college. Yeah.
Love that.
He had a girlfriend, so.
Love it more.
Mr. Still your girl over here.
I mean, you called him and he was like, all right,
He's
bet.
Bet.
I'll be there.
He took one look. He's like, yep. There she is.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else?
Talking point. I know I didn't bring this up earlier, so this is probably different. But so I was showing my boyfriend your birth and boobs page.
Yeah.
And I intentionally showed him the one where you were dumping your menstrual blood into a plant.
Oh yes.
He was
weird shit on there.
He was shook.
Oh.
Really?
So
God.
what's the benefits of that?
To putting your menstrual blood
Yeah.
in plants? So, your menstrual blood
I was in a really cool video that I liked.
Dude, that's amazing.
So your menstrual blood has tons of great nutrients in it. So there's phosphorus, there's nitrogen, there's like all these different things that if you go and buy plant fertilizer, all the same things are in there. So you can literally use your menstrual blood as a fertilizer for plants. And I think it's kind of cool. Like I'm a little earthy and a little in tune with that. And I think it's really neat to like just put like almost your body creation back into the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I never, ever.
Women are so
I know.
wow.
I've never in my 26 years have ever heard of anything
And have
like
you
that.
learned more than you have in your entire life?
There's someone that
And like
commented
about
on my
myself,
post.
like
About-
I'm a female. Like I didn't know this. Like
Yeah.
There's someone that was commented on that post, and she said she used to feed her plants birth control,
like, what?
breast milk, and I was like,
Okay.
what? And I was like, I thought that was so cool, but same thing. It's like so nutrient dense and really like cool thing.
I learned that breast milk.
I keep saying birth control.
I learned that breast milk changes depending on how aged the baby is, what the baby needs. Like
It like knows.
So your nipples have these things called Montgomery glands. So you might notice them; they're kind of like speckled almost.
Yeah.
And so your baby's saliva can go into your Montgomery glands, and then your brain goes to your brain, and it tells your brain how to make.
That's why those are there.
Yes.
That's wild.
So like,
That's so crazy.
yeah. So like if your baby's sick, your milk becomes like very different. Like it can be a little bit more fatty. It can be a little bit have more antibodies. It can even turn green. And that's fine.
What does that? Yeah, what does
bad.
that mean?
It just means it's almost like nature's antibiotic. Like it's like your body's making these like heavily vitamin
I'm about to
dense
cry.
breast milk.
Oh wow. Green milk got her up in her feels. Hannah's thinking of green beer and IV.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Emotional. Oh,
Wearing green.
That's really sweet. Are you good?
Oh my gosh. We didn't plan that. It's just like, it's just
sweet.
so amazing.
It is.
It's really cool. It's just really cool.
It's really cool. Oh, and something else weird on birth control is they found that you might pick a different mate if you weren't on it. So like, yeah.
What?
So,
Okay, I just started profusely sweating.
Come on.
yeah.
Woo!
Yep. So this is a study that was done, which they have
No,
found
it's-
to be for real thing. So
I can concur.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have pheromones and your partner has pheromones, and when you go out you're picking up everyone's pheromones, and when you're on birth control you pick them differently than when you're on it. And so they think that there's this thing that maybe us having issues as humans, like diseases and things, we are picking the wrong mates because we're finding our mates on birth control, and our pheromones don't link, so we're not supposed to be with that mate, but on birth control it makes sense. And then when you get off birth control, you try to have a baby, sometimes that's maybe a hypothetical reason that things could maybe go wrong.
So if you're picking the wrong men, just blame your hormones.
Blame your hormones, yeah.
Wow.
That's a really good excuse.
And so that caused me a
For
lot
my
of
terrible
anxiety,
exes.
though. That
No,
caused
yeah, that gives me. I mean, I already have anxiety, but that really gives me anxiety because I
I met my partner on birth control.
Oh, okay, so
And
we're
I'm
good.
not on birth control.
Yeah, she's still with him.
So we're good.
They're so happy.
There's a lot of factors that are at play, but yeah, I mean, it's very anxiety.
We have 20 questions for after the show. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
is this normal?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a little.
That's scary.
Did you actually notice a difference though, or was that just in your head? Like when you got off birth control, did you like look
With
at
my
your partner a
partner?
different way? Yeah. Or wasn't even?
I don't think it was a thing I don't think I thought about it differently.
Yeah.
But I would say that it gave me a lot of anxiety knowing
Yeah.
that. And then I was like, oh my god, like what if I picked the wrong person?
Yeah,
because
that's like
I'm on
almost
birth
like
control.
finding your soulmate.
Yeah,
I
like,
still
you
love
pick
you.
the wrong-
Yeah, no, but I think there's a lot of different factors that play in relationships.
Yeah, I don't think it's just black and white.
No,
It's,
Yeah.
But it makes sense, like in the
It does
past,
make sense.
like.
Oh, in the past.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna blame my birth control for
Yeah.
my poor decisions. Anyway,
Picking a piece of shit. Damn birth.
I didn't say well at one point.
At one point, we all had that
A piece of
one
shit.
piece of shit. Like, you just have that. I mean, if you're lucky, I guess you don't. But
Yeah,
you gotta
really
get through
lucky.
the rotten ones to get the
Good
the
apples.
good.
Shitty people out there. Let's
There
just say
is.
that.
There is. But like, I love my mans now. Birth control or not, honey.
I met my boyfriend not on birth control, and then I got on birth control. So I
That's
like
good.
him. I like him both ways.
Good.
Nice.
Good.
I don't even know what it's like off birth control at this point. So
Well, that'll be
I'm sure it's
interesting.
fine.
Whenever you're ready to.
I'm definitely like a hormonal like inconsistent person, I think. But like I never actually thought like, oh, this is probably my birth control. Like I never related the two because I've always had like anxiety and like depression, like suffering.
I noticed
from it,
a decrease in my anxiety
Yeah.
when I was off birth
So
control.
they found a correlation in some studies that have shown that women who are on birth control or even girls that are on birth control have an increased rate in depression are more likely to go on antidepressants or anti-anxieties during that time.
It's
And
really
when you
sad.
get off, you might not need them.
Amazing.
So, fuck you, birth control.
Yeah.
Fucking us up.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And it's like shitty because like we are the ones that have to like do it.
But it's great that we know this, so then whenever we have daughters, we can pass this information on
Yeah.
and help them determine what the best course
Yeah.
of action is.
Right.
Instead of kind of being in the dark and like
Just
our moms
knowledge
didn't
every-
know.
everything.
Yeah, everyone shits on like condoms, but like, okay, I put it in
Men
this
shit
perspective.
on condoms.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
they're
exactly.
They're not the best.
No, like
Right.
I don't like
But-
using condoms, but like you know, like there's not optimal. But here's the thing:
There's some good brands.
if you're having like casual sex, like
Yeah.
the right thing you should be doing is
You should always
using a
do-
condom.
Always use a
Always.
condom.
So
Yeah.
regardless of what birth control you're on, you are using one method of birth control, which has a pretty high, if you're using the condom correctly,
Mhm.
Yeah.
has a pretty high, efficacy rate. So, you're usually using birth control if you're someone who's not in a relationship, I hope. But,
Yes.
condoms don't come with any risks.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you're allergic to like.
There's some really good
Right.
ones.
But yeah,
There's some really good
Yeah.
ones.
yeah.
Like the natural ones.
Like the thin,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
feels like
My
skin.
favorite brand of condoms
Ultra thin.
is Sustain.
Yeah.
They don't stink. Like Trojan
Yeah, like that
condoms
condom
stink.
smell.
They smell terrible.
Yeah.
What's in them? Who knows?
Terrible stuff actually.
Yeah,
So don't use condoms.
use
from
Sustain.
Trojan.
Okay.
Because they're really bad for you.
You can get them on Amazon, and then you don't have to go to
Sustain
Target.
condoms. Seriously, they don't smell. They're nice. I like them.
You don't have to see some 16-year-old guy at Target and stare at him in the eyes while you're checking out.
Yeah, just
Oh my
shop on
gosh, like when I
Amazon.
bought condoms the one time, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I buying
Oh my god,
these?
I returned.
And it was just like
condoms.
funny. You
Like, this is
returned
not
it?
my job.
Yeah, I was just like, who do I think I am just buying condoms? Like,
You can't trust these hoes.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell this story. I was in
Yeah.
college and I was with my boyfriend and we bought condoms because I don't know if I was off birth control or if I was doing this fan method and he wanted to still use them because he was nervous in the beginning. And so I bought condoms and I ended up being like, I'm not using these. Like, you
Yeah,
can buy
like,
condoms,
fuck
you can buy
that.
them. And so
you're like, you know what,
I
fuck
took
you.
them
You
back.
buy them. Return them so he can buy them.
questions. Like, good. And
Was this in Indiana?
Yes, it was a
Oh, of
fucking
course,
giant
that's
eagle.
why.
Yeah, it was at Giant
Freaking
Eagle in
townies.
Indiana, PA. I was like so embarrassed to do it, but I was like, these are expensive. I want my money back.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah.
my money back.
You could have just had him give you money.
Yeah. That made the point.
Venmo me.
It's the principle, Hannah.
The Venmo request.
That's how extreme we are as women. Like, that's what
Just
we
to
do.
prove a point.
Just
I
to
will
prove a
return the
Yeah, I don't think
Go to
we
the store
actually
and put
used condoms after that though. So I think he was like, oh, like, well, if you're not gonna buy them, then I guess we don't need them. I'm like, yeah, I guess not.
Such a, like, the man mentality. Like, I mean, if you're not gonna buy him, like, if you don't want it, like, I guess I won't buy it. Like,
Yeah.
Splurge a little bit. Jesus.
come on, man. And it's like, I want, like, a man to sit here and actually say, what really is so bad about a condom? Like, what, you can't feel it? Like,
Well, let's actually talk
Unless you're
about
allergic.
circumcision because
Oh,
once
girl, we shouldn't
they don't
talk.
have as much feeling in.
have you been with both?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Have you seen it? Have you looked in the eye?
Hannah, I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Okay,
all
wait.
Of that.
All right, hold on. You can bypass all this. We gotta talk about circumcision. No, she brought it up.
Yeah, we have to talk about that.
Okay, so
Sorry.
foreskin is seriously an important thing. You should not be cutting off people's penises. Okay, like there's nerves in there.
We should not be cutting off people's penises.
There are nerves
Unless he
in
cheats
there.
on you.
Stop cutting penises off.
Oh my gosh.
This is so bad.
Seriously though, like foreskin
Oh,
has
this is so
nerves in
bad,
it,
too.
and like it affects women's sex lives when we cut
Wow.
foreskin off.
Because they beat it up.
This is gonna be real weird. Okay, so
Sorry, I'm kidding.
if you think about sex, so think about having sex with someone.
Yeah. Alright. Thinking.
Alright, so
Okay.
when you're a woman, we have clitorises.
She said a word.
Familiar. Yep, I know her.
Okay, so
Love her.
we have
Yeah.
clitorises, and to stimulate your clitoris during sex, you have to have friction up on something.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
So like if we want to orgasm,
Take notes.
yes, if we want to orgasm, we need clitoral stimulation. Unless you're one of the lucky people that can have cervical orgasms, which are a thing. Bless your heart
Ugh.
for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah.
Just found that out recently.
I'm not gonna get into that, but yeah. I'm blessed.
So if you think about
It's
it,
literally calling me. Okay.
it's like
Go
so
ahead.
talking.
He heard cut off. He heard cut off.
Keep going.
Okay, so you think about it. When we cut off a person's foreskin, we create this dynamic with a vagina and a penis that you have to go up and down on the penis because those nerves are gone, okay, at the top of the penis. When you have an intact penis with foreskin, you don't have to go up and down as much. So it creates more clitoral stimulation for the women, and it creates more penile stimulation for the man. So we shouldn't be doing that to people. You shouldn't cut foreskin.
I mean, it's a social construct.
Yeah.
It is, and
It really
we don't
is.
like what we don't like the way it looks. Like
Um,
that's.
I mean, it works.
It's not like a
Yeah, I don't care either.
But it's
I
for
just
me,
I think that's what it is.
based
though.
on talking to like my partner, I wouldn't want my kid to feel like they are like different or
Look,
weird,
guys.
and be embarrassed and be
Right.
insecure about it.
Exactly.
I work in labor and delivery, and we always ask people, are you planning to get your son circumcised or not? I would say probably about 70 to 80% of people are not getting their sons circumcised.
Really?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
That's
So like your sons will be fine. The majority of people
Okay, I see
aren't
what you-
going
yeah.
to be circumcised. Like we're heading in that direction. Like most people aren't going to be circumcised. So
Right.
be fine.
Wasn't that like a religious thing, like back in the
Yeah.
day? That's how it started.
Yeah.
Judaism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just like kept doing it.
A lot of Europe doesn't circumcise their
Right.
children. In most other parts of the world, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's just like if you think about it, it's just like why are we cutting like a part of your body? That's like cutting off our clitoris.
Yeah. I mean, it really.
Like,
in
that's
some
weird.
cultures, they do clitoral circumcisions,
Yeah.
and it's really
Sad.
terrible.
That's
Yeah.
really sad.
It
Should
really
be
is.
illegal.
It should
Yeah.
be illegal.
That's
And also,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, okay.
Let us know what you
My
think.
opinion is, like,
do you guys...
if we don't want them telling us what to do with ours, I don't want to tell them what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys are, whoever your partner is, have you had conversations with him about, like, if you had a son, what would you choose to do?
For my partner now, I have not had that conversation, but my previous partner, we did have that conversation only because he was not circumcised. And that was the first time
And what did he want? His son did.
He didn't want him to be circumcised.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And, like, I don't think, and he was Cuban, so I don't know if that was, like that was in his, like, fam, like, that's what they believed. Like, that they didn't, so.
This wasn't part of the culture.
Yeah.
How about you? Have you had...
Yes, and circumcising. However, that's a long time away, and, like, you never know.
Right.
No, I have a partner that is circumcised, and we both very strongly feel not to circumcise our kids.
Yeah. I think, and I have had, like, conversations
you have to agree. You have to.
with men who are circumcised, and, like, this is, like, weird. It's not like it was, like, a dinner party conversation, but, like, saying, like, oh, I wish I had the choice, like, because they don't even know what it feels like.
Right.
To, like, not have it.
Yeah.
So, it's just crazy that you're
Which
not
is
given...
incredibly painful to do later on in life, though.
Yeah, it would not be optimal.
No.
Yeah.
But also, like, I feel bad for the people that want that, because it's usually, like, a deep-rooted, like, insecurity issue.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
Like, that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
It's not usually...
Because society.
That's why I would be nervous.
Society.
But that's why I've been nervous about not circumcising, because of, like, I don't want to create insecurity for that.
but, like...
But if it is a normalized thing, and, less and less people are doing it, then...
It's gonna be normal. Like, most people aren't gonna be circumcised. Like, our generation of children that we'll be having aren't gonna be circumcised. Like, majority.
And they're going to be
Interesting.
fucking...
That's super...
And they're gonna be great.
That's very interesting. Hannah's like, yeah, they're gonna be fun. I'm like, okay, dude.
I mean, they probably are. And they're not going to be on birth control, and they're going to find their soulmate.
I hope they do.
They're gonna be a woke generation.
Yeah, for
all of us
real.
are working on it.
For real. We're trying hard, I think. So
Yeah.
we're not doing too bad, but we're trying hard.
Yeah. Seriously though, like, I feel so, like, blessed to be addressing my, like, issues before I have children. Like,
It is. It's like...
like, can you imagine if your parents went to therapy, what kind of issues you would have never had?
We
my
always
God.
talk about that.
Like,
Yeah.
What, did therapy exist when I was a kid?
yeah, because people didn't acknowledge their
Yeah.
problems,
No,
or like
it
they
was-
just pretended they didn't have problems.
That's literally what it was.
Yeah,
It's like
just
everyone
shove
is
it
in their
down.
perfect
Just
little
shove it down
house.
and be abusive to everyone.
Yeah. Just fuck up
Shove
everyone's
it down and
head.
take it out on everyone else.
Shove it down and be a bitch every day. Fine.
You're like, everything's fine. It's fine.
Watch your life crumble.
Cry yourself to sleep at night.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You wake up and you do it all over again.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Happy Tuesday.
Wow.
So we covered some really, really cool topics.
Yeah.
Is there anything else
You guys have any questions about vagina?
I know. I was like thinking, like, I feel
Let's
like
talk about birth.
you did.
Let's talk about birth.
Yeah. What are your
So-
feelings? Are you terrified or are you
for
excited?
me, I'm excited about birth. I mean, it's going to be a long time away considering I do have an IUD and I do want to keep it for its time with me. And
Not ready to let go yet.
Not ready to let go yet.
Yeah.
My cork is going to stay up there. But whenever it is time, I do want like a home birth, and I would love to have it in my future clawfoot tub.
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of things like influenced you to want to have that? Because majority of people feel very opposite to you.
Yeah, so what made me want to do it was kind of like, I want to keep my birth as natural as possible. I want my child to have as little external factors to being like the natural occurrence of life.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to keep it OG.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was a natural birth. My mom didn't have any sort of epidural, nothing. Like, I was completely natural, and I would like to do that as well, at least to experience
Your mom's a
it.
badass bitch.
Yeah, her first child.
Wow.
I'm the oldest.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah. So I would like to do that too.
Way to go, Gail.
Am I gonna catch
Yeah,
a
shout out
baby
to
one
Gail.
day?
Yeah, you can catch it. I mean,
tub.
yeah, in the coffin tub. Yeah,
I will totally do that for you.
I would love that. Maybe I'll live like far away too. You can,
Yeah.
I'll fly you out.
Fly in for the birth.
Yes.
I love
So
it.
you have like an at-home nurse that comes, right? Like you're not just gonna like. Okay, you're not just gonna like pop.
Kayla's job.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Her studies, her job.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How would
I would
you?
like to keep it intimate.
think like it's just the actual being pregnant and like carrying a child, like that's incredible that like our bodies can do that. So that's awesome. I can't wait for that. But yeah, I'm definitely a little nervous. I think like my mom, like I don't know if I just haven't had enough conversation about it, but I mean it's just I guess not knowing. I'm like when it's something that I don't know and I can't control. That's when I like get all. So I'm just like nervous that it's gonna hurt and stuff. But I'm sure it's like because like most people I talk to, like I have friends, like I had one of my best friends, she already has a child and she's pregnant again, and she's like, oh, like it was fine, you know, whatever. Right. But like it's just I guess you don't know until you do it.
Yeah, I mean you got options. If you don't want to feel the pain, you can get an epidural. Like you can.
I know, and like I would love to just be like, I can do it. Like I have a pretty high pain tolerance, I'm sure.
Look,
but like
my philosophy is like anyone can do it, but that's not the point. You have to want to do it.
Yeah.
You have to want to experience what it's like because it is uncomfortable and it is intense, and everyone experiences labor and birth differently. I've heard people say that was so easy after their baby came out, and I've had people scream their baby out. You know, like so like the process is different, and you don't know until you get there. But you know, you do have options, and that's the nice thing.
And definitely I'm excited though to like have a little mini me. A few years from now, but
I'm very excited. That's awesome.
Off the birth control. Yeah, I need to get off the birth control for at least a year and just like feel my body out. Like let it just like live and be.
Just let it breathe.
Yeah.
Let it go.
I'm actually think I'm more excited for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like being off birth control, and I've been thinking a lot about it lately, just because I'm like I'm 26. I mean I've been on it since I was 18, so like I don't want to be on it past 10 years. So like I want to like slowly. So probably I would say in the next year I probably will be off of it.
We'll get it out.
You know, and like I'm also like I don't know like what's going on like with my eggs and stuff. Like like when should you worry about that? You know, because like I mean I'm gonna be 20. I'll be 27 like this year. So it's like unless like the new like 30's not really old anymore. That when you get older too, and like so like in my head I'm like,
and
oh,
like you're more
waiting
financially stable and able and
in a good relationship and a healthy relationship, all those let the stars align.
Definitely.
Exactly. I just don't want to be too old. That's like another thing I think in my head. I'm like, oh,
I don't want to be too old.
I'm a planner, so I try to plan everything.
I've been a part of people's births who their first baby is in their 40s. I mean, like,
and that's just normal now. Like that's fine.
I'd say the average age is like 30. Like I feel like most
Yeah.
people are like in that 30 range.
Mm-hmm.
There are increased risks to having a baby later in life. So I mean, you know, if that's when it's the stars align for you, then and you really want to have
it really
a
is
child,
at the right
then go
time
for it. But I mean, there are increased risks. Sometimes
all about timing.
Yeah. Wow. What a great podcast. I learned so much. I hope you guys did too. I like forgot you guys were there. Hello.
Hello.
So any other questions?
I don't think so.
I think she did wonderful.
Kayla's a boss. So follow her at Birth and Boobs.
Oh yeah.
We'll link it below.
You can see my cervical fluid and period blood.
Talk dirty.
And all sorts of
Talk dirty.
Thank you guys so much for joining. You've been absolutely wonderful in following us through our inconsistencies because we're
a mess.
fire and water signs, so like we can't help ourselves.
But cheers.
Cheers. And thank you for joining HB Reality.
Love that.